our single external speaker today. Thank you for that.
I'm glad to be here.
Cool.
It's me that thanks you and for that opportunity.
Okay, so I think we can slowly start our Vue.js Talks number 6. So hey there, Code Ninjas, and welcome to our Vue.js Talks number 6. It's awesome to see both of veterans, debuggers, and freshly compiled newbies here today. For those who are just booting up with us, I'm Pavel from Epic Max. A squad of devs that are so obsessed with Vue.js, so we practically dream in JavaScript. We're the brains behind the Vuestic UI, and we are on never-ending quest to patch up the Vue ecosystem. They empower every coder out there. So we kicked off Vue.js Talks with a mission as simple as a Hello World program to share our geeky knowledge, network with fellow code warriors, and build a playground where collaboration and innovation can run like an infinite loop. It's been epic watching our initiative debug itself into something amazing over the last couple of meetups, and we are super stoked to keep refactoring it with all of you. Now, this is our 6th meetup. Yep, time flies faster than a runaway for loop. And we are keeping the momentum rolling like a well-optimized script. Vue.js Talks had become our monthly patch of awesomeness, and we are committed into leveling up every single time. So today, we've got a killer lineup of speakers ready to drop some knowledge bombs and share their insider hacks. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. So I also remind you guys that if you want to participate in our meetups, you just need to drop an email that will be on the presentation, and we will think how we can manage this. So our agenda for today, the first speaker will be Dmitry Mamarev with his topic, Discover the Benefits and Challenges of Implementation Virtual Lists. The next one will be Vasco Neves, Supercharge our Vue apps mastering Vue use. And the last one will be me, and I will introduce the quick overview of key updates, trends, and insights from the developer world for February 2025. So let's get started. Dmitry, I'm passing the microphone to you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Dmitry, and today I'm going to talk about some lists. Let me share my screen, and I'll do share entire screen. Yes, that's how. Let's go to this page. Okay, topic is pretty kind of usual, nothing fancy today, but I think we still need some time to refresh our knowledge on pretty basic stuff, and we may discover something useful or unusual or
I think we just lost you for a moment. There is some technical problems so far. Let me try.
You can.
Oh, you're back. You're back, Dima.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? Well.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I was talking about like two types of a list that you can consider: usual lists that render all items, and virtual lists. So let's start with kind of how may usual list look like, right? In this list, as you can see, we just rendered 100 items, and those are pretty typical list items. They have just checkbox, some title, description, and some actions you may want to perform on those list items. So what's the problem with this list? If we'll open performance tab, right? And we'll try to record our initial page load. Oh my God, not that one. Let's try to profile this. Not that one. We have to hit like that. So initially, in this list, we have just 100 of items. But as you can see, we already have some performance degradation just in the beginning of the page load. Why that happens? Well, that's because we have kind of pretty lot of DOM nodes rendering at once in the beginning of page loading. And a lot of you in such situation probably will decide, well, I just want to improve this somehow. Maybe I can add some paging, or we might decide to use kind of virtual list to improve performance, to improve initial time of loading for such page. And as you can see on that page, there is only one list, but usually in single page applications or different applications, the list is not the only kind of DOM that you have. And that may become serious performance problem. So let's take a look at typical virtual example of any framework or library you can see on any probably page of, I don't know, Beautify, Quasar, all of them have kind of a virtual scroll component somewhere. Or even like there are dedicated libraries that handle virtual scrolls. What I like about them, they use the simplest list items possible. So performance looks perfect for such examples usually. Okay, what types of virtual lists usually, what approaches virtual lists has? There are two types, like main types of virtual lists. Dynamic, that creates and removes nodes on the fly, DOM nodes, or recycle. It just reduces static amounts of DOM nodes. Let's take a look at example of dynamic virtual list. If we will go to Elements tab and we'll inspect some elements, we'll see something like that. We have some list items, and when we scroll, you can see that last and first items are dynamically changes. This one is my custom virtual list I created myself. If we'll take a look at the code, it's pretty simple. We just handle scroll event. We calculate like scroll top position of this huge element, that kind of placeholder for our list, and calculates heights depending on list item height. So what the problem with this one? Do we have like any problems at all with this list? It also contains like 99 items. If you kind of like normal user just scrolling it, looks like nothing wrong with it. But you may notice something weird. if you start scrolling really fast, you'll see grayish background, intentionally made background of the list grayish. So you can see the performance of such scroll. Let's profile this page and we'll see initial load, and then we'll see scrolling issues. So as you can see, it takes much less time to kind of load, much less memory, since we display smaller amounts of DOM nodes for this dynamic list. And if we start recording while we're scrolling, if we do this really fast, let's stop and check. So you can see we have some issues. Let's make this a little bit wider. So you'll see at some points performance degrades that much that you mostly see just grayish background of the virtual list, and that's it. But virtual list supposed to be supposed to resolve performance issues, not to create those. If we compare, for example, scrolling behavior of usual list that just displays 100 items, we'll record and we'll try to scroll again as fast as possible. Let's check out clean picture, as you can see. So as you can see, it's not that kind of obvious which one you should use for your purpose, because on one hand, usual list, like displaying 100 list items, initially slow, but its scrolling performance is perfect. On the other hand, if you want to use virtual scroll, like this one, dynamic virtual list, you may encounter performance issues, which is a little bit counterintuitive. Another type of virtual scroll is recycle scroll of virtual list. It just reuses static amounts of elements. We can see in the elements tab, if you'll go there. So basically what we do here, we change style for each element item while we're scrolling. What about this one? This performance for this list, although it has 1,000 of items, looks pretty good. Let's check out how it behaves in performance tab, right? Oh, not that. Yeah. Just check. Heard weird noise from Google Meet tab. So initial load is pretty fast. Let's record fast scrolling for this type of list. As you can see, there are some issues, but nothing. Let's take a look at screenshots so you can see. We see some grayishness on the top and the bottom from time to time, just a little bit, like on this screen. But in general, behaves much better. So, but what the trade-off for this recycle scroll? Trade-off for recycle scroll is that static amounts of node are pretty bad for accessibility. Your kind of users who use screen readers or they won't be able to kind of use such lists, such fits very well, or you'll have to kind of the complexity to implement every required accessibility IREA properties to such a list pretty complicated. So what are pros for virtual lists? Performance, right? Usually, but not every time. So it's questionable. Memory efficiency, initial load. Yeah, that's right. Smooth scrolling. Sometimes you can have smooth scrolling. Faster load times. Yes, that's right. But maybe something is wrong with my implementation of virtual scroll, or maybe it's something wrong with Qtifi's, or maybe the problem somewhere else. Let's take a look at our list item. In markup, you can see we have this like wrapper div for checkbox. We have some content, 2 divs with name and description. And we also have actions. For actions, we display 4 buttons. As you can see, in actions array, we just have like some actions with icons, names, and such stuff. And what else? That's pretty much it, right? We have tooltip for each action. If we go there, we can see that we have refresh, edit, duplicate, and copy stuff. Pretty simple, you may say. Also, we have some styles here. We have styles for checkbox. Mostly it's just flexes that allocate items properly on list item. And there is, we display actions only on mouse over. So we produce styles for that. And maybe any of you can tell what's wrong with this kind of list item. You can tell, let me show you again. Maybe some of you noticed something weird about that. If so, let me know. You can. Nope, nobody. Tooltips. No, tooltips are pretty fine. We just like it's default like beautify stuff with tooltip. We're locating like tooltips on every button, and that's pretty fine. V1s. Somebody suggests V1s. V1s usually good approach if you don't want to change list times at all. But in our case, it won't work because we have to kind of show those actions. We have to change it list style when we mouse when we have our event. So we kind of can't use V1s there. We can use V1s only for part of functionality, like we can wrap V1s around item name and description, and that's pretty much it. Okay, any other suggestions? Okay, have you ever heard that you have to use CSS whenever you can use CSS instead of JS. Who heard such phrase? Hit plus one or something. Yeah, and the problem with lists is exactly that if we'll go to meetup, let's check out. The problem with lists and list performance that you want to have as less DOM nodes in the DOM tree as possible. And each one of those items have those buttons, although we don't display them, but we have them in DOM. And to kind of, in dynamic, especially, it's visible in dynamic lists. It affects performance pretty much, like, because when you recreate and remove nodes, you want to kind of get rid of as much DOM as possible. So in this specific case, we want to kind of use JS instead of CSS to hide those buttons. How to fix that? Let's go to another branch, and we'll use just beef and mouse over, mouse left and that. Also, as for the like minor improvement, you can use something like debounce. So you won't hover immediately, but rather with some small delay, because while scrolling, you don't have to kind of display this. And you can see that visually, it's already kind of much better. We can compare. It's still not perfect, but it's already something that you may consider when you kind of create virtual lists. Or, oh my god, that again, I'm trying to record. So initial load still okay. And if we record scrolling with updated list item, let's see how it is. You can see much less performance degradation for much less of this grayish background. Let me revert back to previous version so we can kind of compare scrolling. As you can see, picture much worse for this one. Is perfect, like perfect gray background. So what are the cons of using virtual scrolls? Complexity. As you can see, you can pretty small stuff can kind of lead to poor scrolling performance of virtual list. Maintenance. So again, that goes from first, probably from complexity. It's pretty hard to figure out someone else's code. And data handling may require special handling for certain types of data or interactions. SEO impact. Yes, of course, some content just virtually exists and not on the page. Some devices could be pretty slow, or browsers could be pretty old and such stuff. And the main point we won't cover today, but accessibility is pretty important stuff when you try to implement virtual lists. It's pretty hard to do. But if you want to do this, you kind of will have to set up area roles and properties. You have to implement keyboard navigations, which usually none of those libraries or frameworks like implement properly by default. Maintaining focus for like selected item, and with virtual lists, like it's pretty hard to do because imagine you kind of selected with keyboard some list item, start scrolling, and focus just disappears. Like item that was in the DOM just disappears because it's not there anymore. Or for recycle scroll, in this scenario, it won't disappear, but it's going to be completely different item that focused. Okay, you'll have to use semantic as a HTML. Layout should be consistent, and you'll have to kind of make some efforts to use on macOS VoiceOver to test your virtual list. So to summarize this, virtual lists kind of have its trade-offs, and sometimes you may consider like to make initial time kind of slower, but none of those issues later. You may consider pagination and such stuff, depending on your situation, of course. Each situation is unique, and each list probably also. And yeah, keep in mind that sometimes your markup for those list items your markup is pretty important, how you implement it. Sometimes counterintuitive stuff works like better than something that you considered always right. And yeah, that's pretty much it for me. And if you have like any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Dima. Thank you. That was great presentation and very interesting topic. I already put some question into the chat, but I think you already covered it later in your presentation. So maybe you can give some recommendation of what type of scroll to use for some specific cases. I don't know. Maybe it somehow depends on the data structure of the items, because after your speech, it seems like the best performance solution will be just a pagination with a fixed amount of items.
Yeah. Sometimes it is really worth it to kind of slow down a little bit initial time to just have smoothest scrolling performance possible and don't have such issues with. Am I still sharing screen or not?
Yeah, you are sharing your screen. I just put the info about you on my to people that
Stop screen sharing.
Yes.
This is the link to this kind of repository presentation all in one, so you can check out code for custom virtual list and list item itself, so you can kind of analyze if you want to.
Yeah, thanks again, Dima.
Sure.
Okay, I think we can move forward. Our next speaker is Vasco Neves. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but I believe it is right. So yeah, I'm passing the ball to you, Vasco.
Thanks a lot. And yeah, it's correct. You tell it right. So let me just share my screen. think it's done. So thanks a lot one more time for this opportunity. I want to start for asking everyone who already used Vue before. I'm making a live poll, so answer on the chat for me to know who already use it, who is familiar with it. Nice. Don't be shy. This is not a test, so yeah. So we already use Vue use before. Okay, yeah, some people. That's great. Well, for those who don't use it yet, I guarantee that after this talk you know how to use it and you want to use it on your talks. So a little about me, I'm Vasco Neves. I'm from Portugal. I'm specialized in front-end developer with more than 4 years of experience. I'm currently at Siemens as a software developer. If you want to know more about me, you can visit my website or talk to me later after this talk. Well, a question that I keep asking myself is how can we build fast without losing quality? Well, I know there are many answers for this question, but my answers lays down on reusing what already exists. So that's why I bring you Vue Use, this wonderful library that in fact that have many features that I tend to forget and start implementing my own versions and later realize, oh wait, why did I spend the time to do it myself? Uh, I can use views for that. For sure, it already have that composable. So views have a lot of composables. Composables are reusable functions that encapsulate logic across and share logic across components. Sorry for this. Have composables like use magic that you can handle your shortcuts and so use transition to handle your animations and much more. It's no longer supported for Vue 2, but you can use it in an old version, and you, of course, you can use it on Vue 3. This is not something installed by default on your project. So I always recommend to install it on mid-sized projects or when you have some functionality like handle QR codes that is more complex and so. As well, views is reshakable, so only what you use, it's what will be built. So that is amazing. But yeah, I'm bringing you here one more library. Every day there are new libraries, of course. And you always have that questions, do I really need one more library for my project? If there are major change, do I fork it? Do I update it? What do I do? Or do I build my own? Of course, I can build my own. I need to scale it, maintain it, and test it. Well, sometimes it's a pain in the ass, right? For that reason, I normally recommend to go for a pre-tested library like this one. So we can have like this example. And the final results could not be what we expected. So yeah, this is great, right? So where to start if I want to use it? I hope you can see my screen. Let me just share it. Sorry. Yeah. Okay. For those who are already familiar with Vue, almost all documentations are great. So this one is one of them as well. You just get started, npm installing your projects, and they are ready to go. If you want to search for a composable that you want to use, like use Dark, you you have a demo. You can play with it. Sorry for the light. And you have like basic usage that show you a quick example of the demo. So use Dark will tell you if it's in dark theme or light theme. Use toggle to toggle between that themes. And you have behaviors that you can use, like one composable with order, use prefer dark. So the website will get the default theme that you have in your system, and you store to save it. As well, you can see the source of the demo, a quick peek of how it was built. And of course, if you have more curiosity, you can check how it was built as well, the composable, and check that is using other composable. And if for any reason you have a composable that you use daily and you can't find enough views, of course you can contribute to this library. That is amazing. So sounds great and easy, right? But let's check a quick example that I built. Let's check if you can see it. Okay, so I built a quick example. This is a small website just for this representation, where in one way I use views, and another way I create my own composables. So it's a list of products. You can search it and so on. As well, you have supposedly a carousel with image, but it's broken, right? So I will showcase the both way that we can implement a composable um, on our own and using views. So using views, like you can see here, you don't need to know everything that is here. It's only for showcase. So use fetch, that is a composable from views. You'll get all the product itself and return a JSON. I have computed to get the image when they are fetched. So in this case, I need a like infinite cycle. So I need to go forward, backwards infinitely and show my image. Regarding to HTML, I already built it, so you don't have to struggle of debugging if something missing. But if I need a cycle list that is infinite, well, I can just come here and search like it's a cycle use that is a standard for a composable. Well, cycle list. Oh, this one. So I can, like I said, they have a demo. I can play with it and check if it's that composable that I want. Well, I already imported, so let's just copy what we need. We have this example. Of course, you don't need to go. I just want to go forward and backward. And they have the state. So the state is the current position of the cycle. So I get the image. I put it here. You can see here that I have an image. I have two buttons to go forwards and backwards and so on. If I come here to my website, I need to go to the with views. I go to the carousel and I already can play with it. So easy, right? Amazing views. So, but if I really want to create my own, yeah, I want to go to an adventure. So let's take the example of views. They have a state, an X, and priv, and they send to the composable the image. So I have almost the same year. So what I'm going to do is from this file, I'm going to start to create a function. So use cycle list, and what you'll return, sorry, it starts for returning to state, also, like I said before, to current state of the cycle, a prev, and a next. Well, what I want to receive, a list of any, for now, array of image in this case. I want to start for declaring active index, for example, a variable that will say will tell me what current index of the list, and I have a state that I will want to return, of course, and for this I want to use a computed. For to compute it, I want to return from the list every time the active index change. I want to return to current state. So I need to import this, of course. I need to export, of course, the composable. So will be access outside this file. And I want to implement the prevent next. So I start for implement the prev. It's going backwards into list. So if the active index value it's equal to 0, if in the case that you go backwards and you go to the first and you want to go backwards more, and you of course you want to be in an infinite cycle, my active index value will be the length of the list. So going to 0 to the length of the list, so it will be infinite. So in other case, of course, the active index dot value will decrease. Into next will be almost the same, but some conditions will change. Like if in the case that the active index value is equal to the length of the list, you want that the active index value be equal to 0. Otherwise, it will keep increasing. Well, sounds easy, right? So what you need to do now, this coming year, I already imported here in. So this composable will return a state, a prev, and a next. Is that right? State, prev, and next. So the cycle list, use cycle list, you'll receive a list of image. So let's check it if everything is right. And well, it's not working right. Well, one of the problems here is that we are not dealing as well with reactiveness. Well, for this reason, I will start to adjust these types. So we can, what you can receive in this composable is like getters, like a computed, a ref, and so on. For this reason, I will say can maybe a ref or a getter, the list that you're going to receive, with a generic type of the data that you receive on the array. Here, the same. So, and to fix this, you're going to create a private list, and you want to keep the reactivity that is passed to here. So use toRef and you import to list. Of course, you need to adjust the types here. It's a ref of generic type, and you need to import to ref. And this one, and you need to change here to list. So here as well, and you need to put value because now it's a ref. Another curiosity, if you want to, for example, implement to go, if you want to your list to start in the second image, for example, you easily can do it. It's just you just need to adjust to compute it. So sorry, I will keep this because we will want to return the same thing. Like maybe everyone knows, but the computer can have a get and a set. So the set will receive a value. And in this case, I want to search like a found index of a list. Sorry, next up. Well, what I'm doing here is that from my list, I will try to find index of the value that I want to set. And if I can find that index, of course, I want to say that the active index value will be the found index. So if I'm sending to the state the second image, I want that active index be that index. So if I don't find anything, I can console log like not found or something like this. So for that reason, you can see already that is working as expected. But of course, I put that feature and you want to try it, right? I'm going to network to get the image. So I want the second image. It's here. I'm going to the state. For the reason that I'm doing a fetch, I'll put a set timeout. So, sorry. So we'll wait a little and set the second image. Sorry. So you see here that is already in second image. If I refresh it, should work as expected, but it's not working right. But I think if I put more time, yeah, I think it's because of the request that it's why I put the set timeout. But you can see here that in one case, I just took me like 2 minutes max. Another case took me a lot of time. I will need to scale this code as well, test it, and maybe check if they have any errors. And so I think I hope you like it, this presentation. If you have any questions, go forward. I'll try my best to answer them.
Thanks, Vasco. So I think that's, I mean, I'm using the Vueuse in every project where we already have it installed, and I'm proposing it to use the library if we can, if we have a capacity for that, because it's just saving my time. There is, you just showed the kind of simple composable from this package, but there is a lot more complicated composables inside. So yeah, I think we have a question from the chat from Evgeny. Which Vue use functions would be most useful for you?
Well, use Dark probably, and
Like top 3.
hey, damn. Well, depends really, but the top one is use Dark, so I can stay with it. The other ones, I'm not sure. It's hard to choose.
I don't remember the name, but there is some composable which working with the intersection observer that I'm using quite often for my purposes.
Okay, nice. Yeah, like use fetch here. It's one of the composables. You can use like Vue query for that or other libraries. So, but it's nice to have.
Yep, and also, as I remember correctly, Vue is working completely fine with the Next 3, and there is even some specific composables related to Next.
Yeah, I guess so. If you go to, I'm not sure what they are, but yeah, if you go to documentation, you probably can find it better.
Yep.
But yeah.
So I think we don't have any more questions in the chat now. Thanks again, Vasco. That was great presentation. And I also personally recommend you guys to use Vue in your projects.
Thanks.
Okay, so we are running out of time, and there is only me as a last speaker for today. So I will quickly guys through some information about what we have at the state of the start of the February 2025, and the topics I found worth to mention there on these meetups. So let me stop sharing this tab, and I will share another one. Okay, so here we go. Quick overview. I will speak quite fast because we're running out of time. So today's topics is the first one, no-code, low-code development. The second one is JavaScript temporal, the new date time API. And the last one is a Vue 3.6 and Vapor mode, another level we'll have very, very soon. So no code. As we discussed on the previous meetups, AI is growing really fast. So there is a time that no-code and low-code platforms are trying to revolutionize how front-end applications are built. In essence, those platforms let you just design the interfaces and build applications using a drag-and-drop interface and no longer nice debugging and endless lines of code. Of course, this is not exactly true because if you will need to make some deep integration or some custom thing, you will definitely need to do that. But still, those kind of tools provide such things. So platforms like SAP Build and others make possible for even non-developers to create some functional and visually appealing applications. So the growth of no-code tools is part of a bigger effort to democratize development. Businesses can save time and money by enabling less technical staff to create solutions. For developers, this means faster development cycles and lower barriers for entry, enabling more people to experiment and innovate without learning every nuance of JavaScript. For sure, those kind of applications, those kind of services will not replace developers in 2025, and I believe so far in 5 years more at least. But they will make life much easier for some of the developers. Like this is compared to hire a robot intern who will does the repetitive tasks for you. Yeah, so that's about those kind of platforms. Let's move forward. The temporal, JavaScript temporal, and this is the continuation of what we discussed on the last meetup, where Dmitry Kushnirevich told us about that libraries like Moment.js should die in pain because we can handle dates in another way around, like using date FNS or tools we already have in the JavaScript shipped by ECMAScript 6. So the temporal is the new thing. Implementations of JavaScript temporal object are starting to be shipped in experimental release for the browsers. And this is a big news for the web developers because working with the dates and time in JavaScript will be hugely simplified and modernized. So starting from some history point, JavaScript temporal is just a modern replacement for the old date object, which dates back to 1995 and was based on Java's early float implementation. The date object only supports local time and UTC, which is the biggest problem of this object, lack proper time zone handling, and has unreliable parsing and mutable, and it is mutable, leading to complex bugs, especially with DST and historical calendars issues. As a result, many developers using libraries like Moment.js, DateFNS, and stuff like that. So temporal addresses these problems by providing robust support for time zones, calendars, and over 20 built-in methods for conversations, comparisons, computations, and formatting. You can read the full details on MDN for the temporal docs. There is more than 20 articles was created just in last month. So this slide introduced the core concepts of the temporal API. At its heart, temporal is about handling different representations of time: instance, wall clocks, times, and durations. First, we have durations. In temporal, a duration is represented by method temporal.duration, which essentially captures the difference between 2 points in time. This is useful for measuring time intervals. The next is we consider the different kind of points in time. There is several types because time can be expressed in various ways depending on the context. For unique points in time, we have two main representations: temporal.instant, which is like a timestamp, and temporal.zone date time, which represent a time and which represent the date and time that associated with a specific time zone, capturing the regional or local time nuances. So there is also plenty of methods, and you can check that overall that, in summary, the temporal API provides a structured way to handle different aspects of time, from absolute instance to more human-friendly calendar-based representations, all while allowing you to measure durations between events. And this flexibility is a key in handling real-world time complexities in software. And yeah, before we will move to the next topic, there is a magic trick for you guys. So you have to be really careful and patient, and you have to look on my glass right now. So as I'm doing it, so you have to look, and I will move it to the right side. So you have to look on this piece of glass there. And right now, after that, we just moved in time because you didn't notice, and we're already on the last and very sweetie point of the presentation. It's a Vue 3.6 alien signals. So yeah, what's our alien signals? Signals is the reactive data source. Actually, yeah, we can think of a signal as a lightweight and flexible alternative to Vue traditional reactive of ref approaches. Signals are designed for scenarios that require granular reactivity, means that they allow updates in only the specific parts of your app that have changed rather than triggering full re-render. So in summary, alien signals are Vue 3.6 offer a new, more efficient way to handle reactivity, as well as refs and other reactivity things doing. So they help to reduce unnecessary updates, boost performance, and simplify how we manage state, all of which crucial is application growing complexity. So just raw values showing that we have at least 15-16% of increase in the general performance by using those signals. There is also some screenshots where you can see that how we can use the signals. They are quite simple. One, and the most interesting is on the right side, where we use an effect scope. So what the effect scope and what happens there? The first one, we are creating an effect scope. It groups all effects into a single scope. This is useful for some kind of modular reusable logic where you can cleanly manage multiple reactive states and effects. The next one, we starting to add in effects into the scope, as you can see inside of this effect scope function. And also we have specific function stop scope that holds all effects in the scope. Any updates count after this point will no longer trigger the effects. So when we can use this effect scope? First of all, the group reactive logic can be moved into reusable modules. And that can be cleanly stated, started or stopped when we need this. And also that leads to the point that we can avoid the memory leaks. So stopping effects ensures that resources are cleaned up, preventing unintended behaviors in long-lived applications. So going forward, the vapor mode, another big feature of Vue 3.6. So vapor mode is a new compilation strategy in Vue aimed to making your code more efficient and boosting performance again. It's designed to compile existing Vue code into an optimized output that reduces memory usage and improves overall speed. So vapor mode transforms your Vue code so that it performs more like a Svelte. If you know, guys, that this is another framework, Svelte, which is known for its blazing fast rendering. So the key point here is that this optimization doesn't require you to learn any new concepts. It's a behind-the-scenes enhancement that makes your app run just better. One of the major advantages in that vapor mode is opt-in. That means that you can gradually migrate parts of your application that are performance sensitive rather than having a full overall your entire code base. And it is also fully compatible with your existing Vue code and reactivity APIs, ensuring a smooth transition without disruptive changes. So vapor mode is a part of Vue ongoing evolution. Remember how Vue started with a simple DOM templating in Vue 1, then we moved to the virtual DOM in Vue 2, and then enhanced that with a static analysis and fast path in Vue 3. Vapor mode is just a next step further after this. It aims to eliminate the complexities of maintaining dual code paths like the standard virtual DOM and the optimized version by generating a direct optimal code path, essentially producing the best version of what you would write by hand. So overall, vapor mode, what you need to remember that vapor mode represents a significant leap forward for Vue, blending cutting-edge performance optimization with the backwards compatibility and ease of adoption. It's an exciting development that addresses the long-standing challenge of balancing reactivity and performance, positioning Vue to better compete with the frameworks like Svelte while retaining the familiar developer experience. Keep an eye on community discussions and contributions as a vapor mode because it's still ongoing. It continues to evolve and potentially become a standard part of Vue compilation process in the future very, very soon. So yeah, that's all from me. Thank you, guys. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to read and answer if I can. Yeah, the next level of CSS effects. I think that's relates to my magic trick today, right? Yeah. When can we expect the vapor mode in production? Not quite sure because it was presented recently, maybe 1 week ago by even you, so it's still ongoing. There is no any ETA when it will be delivered. Sorry, cannot answer for that. Any idea when to wait? 3.6 is just the same question, right? Okay. So if no more questions, I think we need to wrap up right now. Thank you guys for joining there. Thank you, Vasco. Thank you, Dima, for being speakers today. And see you guys really soon. In the next month, we will announce a date short after the meetup. So thank you guys. See you.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.